There's a moment when you lock eyes with an animal and something unspoken passes between you, a kind of knowing. For Chad, that moment came in the middle of a crumbling city park, where a tiny Siamese kitten stood wobbling in the dirt, barely able to walk. She was covered in bugs, her ribs poking through thin fur, and she was drinking from a puddle filled with chemicals. One look, and Chad felt something shift inside him. He didn't want a cat. He had said so out loud to his wife. But this wasn't about want. It was about something else. This was Merv. And from that day forward, nothing would be the same. Chad never imagined himself as a cat person. Life was already complicated enough. He was a working actor in a city that chewed through people like him every day. Long hours, endless auditions, constant rejection. He didn't think he had the room, emotionally, mentally, or physically, for anything else. But when his wife texted him that day, asking him to bring a blanket and a box because there was a kitten who needed help, something in him softened. He grumbled. He protested. And then he showed up. What he found wasn't just a kitten. It was a survivor. She looked feral, wide-eyed and trembling, but there was this strange confidence in her, like she had already seen too much to be afraid anymore. He didn't expect her to live, but he carried her home anyway. That was Merv's first act of magic, getting under Chad's skin when he least expected it. The first few days were rough. Merv didn't purr. She didn't cuddle. She didn't even act like a cat. She acted like a little warrior with trust issues and a short fuse. She clawed, she hissed, she lunged. "She's trying to kill me," Chad joked to his wife. But under the jokes was a real fear. What if she never adjusted? What if the trauma had broken her? But Chad had seen enough pain in his own life to know that healing takes time. So he gave her space. And slowly, she let him in. It started with a look. Then a quiet nap nearby. Then one day, when he was feeling particularly low after a failed audition, she crawled into his lap and pressed her tiny head into his chest. It was like she knew. And that was Merv's second act of magic, giving comfort before Chad even knew he needed it. Merv isn't your typical cat. She's loud. She's opinionated. She follows Chad into the shower. She picks out his socks in the morning. She chooses which side of the couch he's allowed to sit on. She's got this personality that's half diva, half gremlin, and 100% hilarious. And somehow she matched Chad's energy like they were born to be weird together. Chad, a self-declared goofball, would make silly noises and sing ridiculous songs around the house. And Merv? She joined in. She'd meow on cue, mimic his tones, jump in like a full-blown comedy partner. It wasn't long before he started calling her his co-star. She brought light to his loneliest days. In an industry where rejection feels personal and success can be fleeting, Merv became the one constant. When Chad came home drained or defeated, she was waiting, either sprawled dramatically across the bed or knocking something off a shelf for attention. She had a way of interrupting his spiral with pure, unapologetic presence. And Chad, in turn, began to see that this wasn't just a cat. Merv was a reminder that love doesn't always come the way you expect it. Their bond grew deeper with time. She slept beside him. She purred him awake. They had entire conversations, half in real language, half in meows and giggles. She'd jump into his lap during voiceover sessions, swat his scripts off the table, or stretch dramatically while he practiced monologues. Somehow, she always knew when the stakes were high. She'd curl beside him during callback week or nuzzle his neck when a big opportunity fell through. Her presence wasn't just comforting, it was grounding. A soft, furry anchor in a chaotic world. One night, after a particularly rough week, Chad sat on the floor and cried. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was the kind of silent grief you feel when everything starts to feel too heavy. Merv walked up quietly, and without hesitation, placed her paw on his chest and looked him dead in the eyes. That was her third act of magic, reminding him, in her own strange feline way, that he wasn't alone. Merv has changed Chad's life in ways he never expected. She's not just his pet. She's his shadow, his co-star, his daily therapist with a tail. She's the reason he laughs more, breathes slower, and wakes up with something to look forward to. And in return, he's given her the one thing she never had before: a real home. Their story is a reminder that rescue isn't a one-way street. Sometimes the ones we save end up saving us right back. And sometimes the messiest, wildest beginnings can lead to the most beautiful relationships. There are thousands of animals like Merv still waiting, still scared, still unsure, still looking for someone to see them the way Chad saw her. You can be that someone. Whether you adopt, foster, donate, or simply share this story, your actions matter. You can be the beginning of another Merv story. And trust me, the world could use more stories like this. If this story touched you, please consider supporting your local animal rescue. Or better yet, open your home to a pet in need. You might think you're just saving them, but in time, you might realize they were sent to save you too. Merv may have started her life drinking chemicals in a forgotten park, but today, she's a queen with her own wardrobe preferences and a mission to keep her human spirit intact. All it took was a little trust, a lot of love, and the kind of connection you can't fake. That's the magic of rescue. That's the power of choosing love, even when you weren't looking for it. And that's the story of Chad and Merv. A funny, sassy, healing, totally unexpected friendship between a man who thought he had no room for more love and the cat who proved him wrong.